Hey everyone, it's Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and I normally don't do a video on Friday. However, I wanted to do this one specifically because I thought it was very important that I share something with you that I didn't really know about, but definitely learned my lesson, quote, the hard way as a result. So I've got a bunch of different stuff here on the table. You will notice I have these guys here. I have my Let's Resin UV lamp there. I've got this unit here with the little bit on the end of it for making holes. I have my lid for my pear. And then I have little pieces of a bunch of stuff here. So I'm just going to move this stuff back into the realm of so you can see. All these little pieces here, right? I'm going to share a little story with you, and I hope that it proves beneficial to you so you do not do what I've done. When I was making my new lid for my pear, which I did, okay? So here's my new lid. It's got stones in it. It is fairly heavy. It's got a bit of weight to it. And this is the bottom. I have one, I think that's the only one I have too. I was very impressed with myself. One air bubble here. So well done versus the other one I showed you in the video you saw on Thursday. So it's a pretty lid. I like it. But if you'll notice, the tip of it is missing. Okay. We don't have a proper stem on this. So I'm just going to put that back here, and I'm going to tell you what happened. And I did not realize what was going to happen. Okay? I decided that because of worrying about bubbles, I used some isopropyl alcohol. I sprayed it into this lid, and I sprayed quite a bit. I sprayed too much. I truly believe this is what has happened is I sprayed too much. When I poured the resin into the stem, because there was so much isopropyl alcohol in there, when I went to take this out of its mold, my lid, I ended up ripping off the stem. Like it ripped off, and I thought, oh, and then I wondered, is it because I didn't let it cure long enough? Or is there some other reason? As I started, and I tell you, trying to get the stem out was not working. It was not working. I tried using pliers to pull it out. I was attempting initially to drill with this, and I'll share I'll get back to that in a moment. I used UV resin to try and attach to the piece that was left in. Okay, I tried that a couple of times but it kept detaching itself from it. Again, I tried to use my hand drill here to get into it, but it was disintegrating. When I was trying to do it, it was just disintegrating. I couldn't get enough leverage on it, even with the pliers. I mean, when I pulled on it, it was ripping it. And as you can see here, by all these little pieces, basically the stem disintegrated. And not because of what I put in it. I put in some of these small ball pieces, and I don't know what exactly they're called. Metallic micro bead set. I put some of these in. I put some of this glitter in. There was all kinds of resin. I mean, that was not an issue. I truly believe it was because there was too much isopropyl alcohol in the stem, and as a result of that, it soaked too much into the resin, and the resin was not able to set. Because the rest of my lid turned out fine, and interestingly enough, I had noticed before I started doing the stones and whatnot that there was sort of a little bit of pool of isopropyl alcohol in this. And I got one of my paper towels, thank you, and soaked some of it up not really taking into consideration what may have been in the stem part. I am going to highly recommend, I know people spray alcohol, isopropyl alcohol into their molds to help with the bubbles. If you're going to do that, take a lesson from what I have learned and be very aware of how much you're putting in, where the space is that you're putting it in. There's not a lot of space in here, okay? This is all we've got to work with. It's not very thick. So you want to be really careful. If you're putting isopropyl alcohol in something like this, sparingly. And I do mean that sparingly. I don't know that I would even do it again just because of what I went through. It took me a half an hour, if not more, to get all of that crap out of there. And I still don't have it all out. And what I ultimately ended up doing once I had, pulled all this crap out, I got it out, then I used UV resin again to get right down to the bottom so I could get even more of the crap out, because it was like, how am I going to get this out of there? All right. I should show you that in the camera. So I made this piece with UV resin to get the majority of what was left in the stem out. Okay. Now, the other thing I did, my own fault, and I accept obviously full responsibility because I did this, was at one point I used this to try and get into the bottom. And I thought, you got to be careful, Natalie, because if you're not, you're going to go through the mold. And what did I do? I know you're saying it. Say it out loud, because this is exactly what I did. Is I put a small little hole. I went through the end here. Okay. That's just so you know. That's how icky this stuff was. Like yeah. So I wanted, again, because I still needed to get some of the garbage out of it that was in it, the leftovers, I put a tiny bit of the UV resin right at the bottom. I cured it, and then I filled it up the rest of the way. I know there's silicone can sort of bring itself back together, because a part of me had thought, well, what if you took just a little bit of silicone and, dabbed it on this to seal it? But I think as long as I use a little bit of UV resin in the bottom and make sure it settles in all the way around, then I can still use this mold. Like, I haven't completely destroyed it. If it had gone out the side, I'd have been, a lot more concerned with that. Anywho, I thought it was really important to share that with you because, as I say, I see a lot of people in their videos who are using the isopropyl alcohol to help with the air bubbles, which I totally get. I do get that. And my other concern with isopropyl alcohol has been it, taking a glossy mold and making it dull because of the alcohol and it drying the mold out. And I thought, I was just going to let this go. I wasn't going to really share anything with you. And I thought, no, in case you're new to resin, or even if you're an experienced person and you've sort of, used isopropyl for making sure, you're trying to avoid bubbles, just don't do what I've done. This is the only reason I'm posting this video, is so you are aware. I'm not sure about how I want to fix this. I'm thinking of not all of it, but just sort of fixing it up a little bit. And then I could always take my chrome marker and do that. Or my other thought had been to try and make a new stem for it. Like if I were to go right down or almost right down and then make a new stem for it, which is, something I could think about doing, or just sanding it and then putting the chrome marker on. I like it. I really don't want to have to redo this again. Right? I'm thinking I was trying to be smart in what I was doing to save resin. And yeah, so that's this is the reason for this video, just so that you don't make the same mistake I have, where you end up not only with a stem that's totally messed up, but putting a hole in it. And I did go looking online, on the Let's Resin website, on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, And I even went into Temu to see about finding another pear mold that was like this one. And I couldn't find it on the Let's Resin site. I didn't find it on Amazon. I didn't go really crazy and go through all the pages of Amazon. I was not able to find this particular mold. The apple mold's all over the place. This pear mold is not. So I'm not sure if they just sort of said, we weren't selling enough of them, so we're not going to sell it anymore. I don't know. So if anyone happens to know, if you can put in the comments below. This video really is about just don't. I don't want to see anyone else, because as I say, getting this out was, I almost want to say a nightmare, because I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And with it being in like it was, even if I use 2-part epoxy in here, like it wouldn't have been able to get around, I don't think, to get enough of it so I could yank it out. But yeah, so if you're going to use one of these on a mold, seriously, be very, very careful if you're doing that. Don't do what I've done. Unfortunately, I've sort of got a workaround for this mold, for the lid. And this is what happens. And I'm still not in, so I really want you to be able to see this. My mess. This is what happens. For me anyway. I mean, if you're fortunate enough and that hasn't happened to you, kudos. This is the mess I was left with. And even when I was using the pliers, I was just ripping pieces off, like just disaster. Anyway, that's the video. That's all this one's about. I just thought you would want to know that you do not want to do this. Be incredibly aware that if you put too much alcohol in to try and get rid of bubbles, you have the potential of ruining the piece when you go to take it out of the mold, depending on what it is. And I think even the integrity from the perspective of, if you put too much in, your resin's not going to set up properly. And I'd hate to see that happen. That's it. That's all. Comment below. And I hope this has been helpful to you. And I'm going to be extremely careful moving forward. Anyway, have a great creative day. Have a great weekend. And we will see you in the next, hopefully, happy video. Take care. Bye for now.